Now, just as of recently, I've been doing more or less a bit of a restructuring in my long-term dividend paying portfolio. And this is due to me purchasing new positions in my long-term portfolio, as well as certain positions being called away from covered calls and other things. But while breaking down my portfolio, seeing all the different stocks and ETFs that I'm currently holding, I went through and found out which positions in my portfolio out of all the stocks and ETFs are my 5 largest of all. Now in this video, I'm going to go through and share with you my 5 largest positions in my overall 7-figure portfolio, and we're going to break down every single one of these different stocks or ETFs, share what they offer, and why I hold so much of them. So if you're interested in seeing my largest positions in my long-term 7-figure portfolio, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the market. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. So before we go through and break down all these different stocks and ETFs, and I share with you my 5 largest positions, going through them all, first of all, my largest position of all is my 1,000 shares of Apple stock, which I've been holding now for several years. These 1,000 shares of Apple, as of recent, are worth around $200,000+. My next largest position is my 2,700 plus shares of ticker symbol Realty Income, which is currently worth over $160,000. I did as of recently get some shares of Realty Income called away, in case you're wondering why did my shares of Realty Income dropped down a little bit since previous videos. Then I have 1,000 shares of JPY, I have 660 shares more or less of SCHD, and around 1,253 of Devo. Now to go through my largest position in my overall portfolio, first of all, of course, my 1,000 shares of Apple stock, which if you guys been following me for a while, you know I bought these shares of Apple stock back when Apple was trading at around $100 per share, and I've been holding on to these shares of Apple ever since. Now over the years, it's been sort of tempting to sell out of these Apple shares, maybe buy something a little bit higher yielding, and also on top of that, because Apple of course is a single stock, it's been very tempting to sell off some of my Apple shares, if not all my Apple shares, and put it into something more diversified like SCHD for example, just to have a little bit of a piece of more pies. But over the years, I've still been holding on to my shares of Apple stock, which are currently paying me around $250 per quarter in dividends, which is pretty awesome, not to mention I'm up substantially, of course, on my shares. Now, where Apple is trading as of right now, we have a 0.44% forward dividend yield, which of course, my yield on cost is about double this, but Apple stock does have a very, very safe dividend and some decent dividend growth. It's slow, but it's something. But overall, obviously, you buy Apple stock for the growth potential, which is exactly what Apple has done to my portfolio over time. Apple's been my best investment long term, which honestly, when I started investing, if I would have just bought all Apple stock, I probably would have made a lot more money long term. Now, the future of my 1,000 shares of Apple that I've held for years now, who knows what's going to happen with it? Maybe I'll sell some of it off this year, but for now, that's still my largest position across my entire portfolio. My next largest position, like I said, is my around 2,700 more or less shares of Realty Income, ticker symbol O, which I've been buying since around 2018, 2019 now, so going on around 6 or 7 years. Now, Realty Income has been great for my portfolio long term because, of course, I've been getting paid more and more dividends over time as I've been stacking up more and more shares of Realty Income. And along with that, I've been selling covered calls on a portion of my shares of Realty Income, which has been allowing me to earn extra cash along the years as well. Now, Realty Income has a very safe dividend, relatively speaking, and offers around a 5 or 6% starting yield, and that's depending on where you bought into. And even though a lot of you guys might think that my position of Realty Income is a little bit too overweight, a little bit too heavy, remember that I do sell covered calls on a large portion of my overall position of Realty Income, so it's not like Realty Income dropping in the future potentially is going to mess up my portfolio, because of course I have this position at least somewhat hedged. But Realty Income, as far as a single stock, is still one of my favorites across the entire market and will definitely remain a position of my portfolio, I'm sure, for many, many years to come. Next, we have our more or less 1,000 shares of JPY, which again I've been collecting over the past several years. I haven't been buying any more JPY as of recently. I actually, to be honest, even trimmed some JPY as of recently, and along with that, I've been selling covered calls on a few lots of my shares of JPY also. Now, this is just because I think JPY is somewhat maxed out, at least for now, as far as upside potential, and on top of that, JPY doesn't pay all that large of a dividend yield, so I do think that my money is probably better spent into something like JPQ, SPYI, even SVOL, some other investment opportunities that might offer some things that JPY potentially won't. But overall, I'll probably always hold on to a decent portion of JPY throughout my portfolio. But that being said, in the next few years, I would not be surprised if JPY is a much, much smaller portion of my overall portfolio compared to where JPY sits as of right now. Now this one's super exciting for me. SCHD is officially one of my top 5 largest positions, and this is really cool because if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that SCHD is a relatively newer addition to the portfolio. I think most of 2023 as well as this year, I took it really seriously, buying as many shares of SCHD as possible, buying shares day after day after day, pretty much every single trading day. Now to the point to where I have well over 600 shares, and hopefully by the end of this year, if all goes well, I'll have over 750 shares upwards to 1,000 shares, which would be great. Now this is huge for my portfolio because before this, I didn't really have a super high quality dividend growth position in my portfolio that I've been holding on to. And SHD, DGRO, VIG, all those different high quality dividend growth ETF names, I think are a perfect foundational portion of the portfolio, which I honestly was just lacking over the years. But luckily, because of my consistent buying over the past year or two, I've been able to make up for lost time, and I've been able to build this position a lot faster than I even thought. That being said, I think moving forward, I'm going to continue to build out this SCHD position until I probably have 1,000 shares more or less of it. And then from there, I'm probably going to move into a different dividend growth ETF, maybe something like VIG, maybe DGRO. Even though a lot of them have a lot in common, I think I'll probably cap the position at around 1,000 shares, but honestly, who knows? Now, the last position in my top 5 largest positions in my portfolio is none other than the Amplify CWP Enhanced Dividend Income ETF DEVO, which again is one of my favorite ETFs that I've been holding on to for years now. Now, even though DEVO hasn't really been all that popular over the past several years, as of recently, maybe in the last year or so, I've been seeing a lot more YouTubers, a lot more dividend investors in the community talk about DEVO, which I think is awesome because DEVO offers basically everything we're looking for as dividend growth investors. That being, a lot of us are looking for consistent dividend income, which DEVO has around a 4.5% forward yield. On top of that, some dividend growth historically. I get it, DEVO doesn't really raise their dividend that quickly, but also DEVO has upside potential, and this ETF has grown substantially over the last few years. So will DEVO remain a large portion of my overall portfolio years to come? It probably will. DEVO is a really high quality, low beta ETF that offers income, upside potential, and doing so while suppressing volatility. Now that being said, will I keep buying more and more shares of DEVO over time? Honestly, where my position is right now with DEVO, I'm sort of set where it is. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to buy more DEVO on top of what I already have, but this being a top 5 position and the rest of the positions in my portfolio, I'm honestly pretty happy with. So those are the top 5 positions in my overall 7-figure portfolio as of right now as it sits. And because I would sort of consider myself a dividend growth investor that also has sort of an interest in income investing, I would say I'm sort of a hybrid of the two. I think that my portfolio, although of course like any portfolio still needs some work, still needs some shaping, I think it's pretty good so far. Now what I mean by that is because my portfolio does have aspects of growth potential. There's different ETFs and stocks in my portfolio. Of course, these along with others that do offer a ton of income from day one, but also because my investment strategy is a little bit more of a scaredy cat investor, I don't necessarily want to have too much exposure to risk. I think my portfolio really speaks volumes to that. Now, before you guys go, I want a brutal, honest take on my top 5 positions of my 7-figure portfolio. I promise you will not hurt my feelings. My portfolio is a consistent work in progress like all of ours. Let me know down below in the comments what you honestly think about my shares of Apple, my shares of Realty Income, JPY, SCHD, and DEVO. What do you think knowing my investment strategy? What do you think about my top 5 positions? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.